fine now. That's fine now.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. You don't know.
I felt like that was fairly smooth. I think it was breathing all right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What have you been working on?
I'm trying to keep my elbows higher. Pull through, better rotation. Keep my head up.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll play it through, and we'll look for the key points and just see.
Look at that. Who's that? Boobs like that. It might be
In
Rebecca
the
Adlington.
sun behind you, amazing. Right. So, what we'll look at from this angle, obviously, we're looking for the angle of the head. So ideally, we want to have our head nice and low in the water. What you can see already here is the angle of your head is actually
A little bit high.
up like that, which will mean your legs will have a tendency to drop down.
Yeah.
All right. So just to demonstrate that,
Just wait until you get to mine, it'll be all right.
we look at Jono. No. So I'll drop these demonstrations in so you can compare what some of these things should look like. Just wait until he turns to breathe.
Nice and parallel. Doesn't breathe.
I mean, he's a great example of being straight in the water. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
It's
I know
ridiculously
when I'm tight, there's a tendency, I think, sometimes that I throw my arm and my head gets thrown with it, I think. But
yeah. We'll have a look at that in a minute, because I did spot that. You kind of lead with your hand a little bit rather than your elbow.
Sometimes, yeah.
So I'll play this at full speed in a minute. So he turns to breathe, and he keeps his head low in the water.
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't look like a huge amount.
My feet look quite high there.
You're not lifting it. No, I'm not saying you're lifting it excessively, because some people you can see their whole face here.
Yeah.
But it's a point. It's a point to be aware of. You can actually keep your head down. What I could show you here is some smooth drills. So Popeye breathing, that's where your head should be. Yeah. So it should be nice and low, and you get the side of the mouth open, and this kind of Popeye, because it's out the side of your mouth, like Popeye chooses spinach, because it actually gives you a bit of extra room to stop you having to lift your head that little extra bit. So if you can keep your head as still as possible, you win. And this is going to be the same for all you guys. And what you get here, because you keep the head still, is you get this bow wave forming. And the bow wave, the water comes around here and then drops down and then comes back up again. So you end up with a trough, which you can breathe into, which again makes you can keep your head down. And this is us talking about you when you're looking forward, and looking like this. And what it does is every time we do that, it wipes out the bow wave, and you're having to start again. So that's why it's so important to keep your head down and keep it low. All right. So if I play him full time, if I find it where he's straight on, in fact, that's probably quite a good angle. If you look at his head, you could almost kind of put a glass of wine on the back of his head, and it wouldn't, apart from when he turns to breathe, it wouldn't. It wouldn't move very far. There's another better angle when it kind of comes straight on. In fact, that's probably, if you look at it from this angle, just focus purely on the back of his head and how still his head is. It just, his body and his arms rotate around his head, and his head doesn't move apart from when he takes the breath. So that's the kind of ideal, what we want to be aiming for. All right. And it's just, I'm not kind of expecting you guys to kind of suddenly get this like next, within a week, but it's good to have an awareness of what it should look like. So let's get rid of him for a second. So if we continue to run it through, and it's worth going through all of these together and seeing each of each other's, because there are points which will be relevant to all of you. So in terms of your recovery, so what we want to see really is we want to see everything is kind of led from the elbow. So the elbow comes up, and then as the elbow is at the highest point, that's when the hand comes forward. If you're not rotating enough, what you get is you get the hand. See, the hand is already starting to overtake the elbow, and you get a hand-led recovery.
Yeah.
Which normally means you come in very flat. Okay. So you're coming in flat to the water. So ideally, if you've got a higher recovery, you can spear in deeper, and you're straight into a better position to get the catch.
Yeah.
We'll have a look into the water in a minute, but that normally leads to a tendency to have a bit of a dropped elbow.
Yeah.
Which we want to try and avoid if possible. And it's the same on that side. Look, not so bad on that side. But your hands are spearing in nicely, so that's what we want to see. We want to see a hand going in flat, the fingertips entering first. Some people enter with a thumb entry. So they over-rotate, which can put pressure on the shoulders here. So that's good. Right, so let's have a look a bit further along. Look at the camera, look. Hello!
I was a little tempted to wave, but...
Now I'm hoping I got this under shot because I couldn't really see where I was blinking filming half the time, so I'm hoping it's okay. We'll get most things covered. Okay. So, what have we got here? So what I'm looking for really, I look at things in kind of an order. So look at head position, the body position, and then look at the breathing, what you're doing with your breathing. Being kind of, you do much scuba diving and that kind of thing. Scuba divers normally quite good at this in terms of
breathing.
Yeah, all that. So
That's all theory.
let's have a look at the breath first of all. Okay, so you're taking your breath there. I'm kind of losing you, so I want to see if coming out of the water. We'll try and find it somewhere else. I'm trying to see where you actually start to breathe out, whether you hold your breath.
It's all dependent on how on the rivet I am, I think. And I wasn't necessarily on this, and relaxed, I think. My elbow looks like it's dropped off there.
Yeah, we will have a chat about that bit. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to do the CSS test first, because I did want you to be a bit fatigued, because it gives us it kind of exaggerates the faults when you're tired. Yeah. So it's actually quite a good time to do it. So I want to have a look at the body positioning first of all. Okay, this is a better angle. Look.
It feels quite natural for me to swim with a high elbow, although I can do it, and the drills help that. I haven't really been doing much drilling recently, but one thing that my elbow, I think I've told you about this before, my elbows, I've got cubitus valgus, where my elbows bend out at a funny angle. So for me to keep my elbow high it feels very strange. So I have to drill a lot to keep it, keep the momentum with that going. Otherwise, it's something that I lose very quickly.
Okay, so you can train yourself to.
I can keep my elbows high.
That.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not because some people have got physical barriers which stop them doing certain things.
Yeah. It just feels strange. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's have a look at your breathing just while we're here and have a look at the body position. So we're taking a breath there. So what we're looking for here is we should be almost having a constant steady, constant bubbles coming out the mouth, and you swim with your mouth wide open for a start, kind of catching fish.
Basking shark.
There's some drag right there.
He was hungry.
So you haven't breathed yet. You haven't breathed out yet. You've still got all that air in your lungs here. Now, we've got several things going on here, and these are easy wins for you, really. We've already said your head is a little bit higher at the front than where it needs to be. Yeah. Just normally in your stroke. What you're doing here is you are, where are you looking? You're looking
slightly
over here.
Down. I think we went through this on the first time I did this with you, and I think if I look too far up, it pulls my legs down a little bit. So
yeah, we are looking too far up.
Yeah.
So you want to be again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So your head is up like that. Where your head, imagine you put a pole through the centre of your body.
Yeah.
Your head should be at the end of that pole. It shouldn't be up there, like that. So you're lifting your head up. You're looking forward. So if you
okay.
So if you look down, maybe not straight down, but this is something you experiment with. You look down here. Wherever you look, your head will follow. So you need to experiment with looking straight down. And this is kind of when we do one-to-one sessions. I'll get you to swim looking forward, and I'll look to see how it affects your body position. Look 45 degrees, look straight down. Some people actually benefit weirdly from looking actually slightly further backwards.
So I did that when I did my first session with you, and that was a problem for me. And I think maybe that's a little bit too far, but I think the first time we did this session, we kind of agreed that not looking down and looking a bit further ahead was a beneficial thing for me, because otherwise I think I just had my head too far in the water the first time.
Well, maybe you've gone too far.
Okay.
Maybe you've gone too far, because that is a very forward looking head position. Which, if you're I always think of girls when I say this, but it's blokes as well. Some people have a very naturally good body position. You see, it always seems to be girls. You look at girls in the pools, and they just seem to be able to. Their bums are out of the water when they're swimming. Some people like that, and they almost can kick out of the water.
Yeah.
Some people like that can benefit from actually lifting their head up, because they don't want the propulsion and their feet to be sticking out. They want them to be pulled down by lifting their head up.
Yeah. I think that's the problem that I had the first time we had a session, is that my feet were starting to break the water if I put my head down. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's something that we need to experiment with, to see, and there's no right or wrong way with a lot of this stuff, because it's down to the individual and it's down to what works for you in your stroke.
Yeah.
So it is. I can't say to you need to look down, that will work for you.
Yeah.
Because we need to see how that affects other things down the chain.
Yeah. So, I think when I've got my head further down, I find it easier to rotate, to breathe flatter.
And you are quite flat now in the water, which is why you're coming around like that. If you rotate more, it gives you more clearance for you to bring your arm in higher, from a higher angle.
I think there was a couple of there's a few strokes on this where I felt like I was getting good rotation, but I know when I'm swimming well. That's the annoying thing. It's just making it so that it's like that all the time. I can feel when it's going well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bearing in mind what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pick out the faults.
Yeah.
It's nice. I could pick out all the nice stuff as well, and there are good things going on there. Well, I was just about to say your body position actually is pretty good, and we've spoken about this before. Your body position is actually quite high in the water, and you're nice, and you've got decent alignment there. So that it may well be that you've kind of taken it a little bit too far, and certainly you've taken that breath, and there ain't no air coming out of there yet. So at the moment you've got a lung full of air, which is going to make these legs come down. But in actual fact, they're actually still not too bad. So let's just play it through and see when you actually do breathe, because you're still holding your breath at this point.
I think when I pushed off from the wall for this stroke, I think I was suffering quite badly with cramp. I think about here. I reckon about here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that might be some of it.
Yeah.
But
underwater scream.
Yeah. Well, at the time I was thinking about looking at the camera and shouting cramp, but it's not going to help.
I've got cramp. Well, that might be something to do with it. But again, you can see your head. If you think about your spine coming up here, and then your head is up like that.
Yeah.
All right. So we need to experiment with this head position here. So far, we've predominantly got head position. We've got breath holding, but that might be affected by the cramp. All right.
Yeah.
So
I think that I do suffer from that. Though.
You've taken. I mean, you can time how long it is, but it's a long time to swim while you're holding your breath, and then you can just see it start to come out there. So you're breathing out just as you're breathing. See, it's still coming out there, look. So what that's doing is it's reducing the amount of time you've actually got to breathe in, because you're still partially breathing out at that point when you should be breathing in.
Yeah.
Which means you have to lift your head higher to give yourself more time to get the air in. Which actually means it reduces everything down, so it can actually make things feel a bit more kind of stressed, because you've got less.
And it's when you're at your lead arm, your elbow starts to drop.
Yeah, exactly. So you lift your head up because you need the extra time. Having any kind of additional time on this side will mean this side pushes down and your elbow drops. So what we need to work on is your head position so far. Head position. Do some work on your breathing. All right, breathing and head position. That will automatically improve some of your body positioning. But look at your legs are nice and high here. Some people are down ridiculously low. So don't think it's bad because it's not. We're just trying to improve.
I think just breathing better all the time would be.
Yeah.
It's funny, when there's times when you were filming me and I become conscious of the fact that I'm holding my breath, and then it makes me breathe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, and then what we'll look at is what your arm's doing. Okay. So we know that we're coming over a little bit shallow, and we're kind of leading by the hand. So if we look at them here, and we'll choose different angle in a minute, is your hands are spearing in, and you can see already where your hands are headed. They're headed kind of over that way, although they then straighten out as they enter the water. But your upper arm, all comes in together. See all this air it's bringing down here. So you're spearing in, and then you're coming down quite flat. And then what you end up with is what some people will call a dropped elbow. In actual fact, it's more of a high hand.
Yeah.
So your hands should never be below your elbow. So what you could do, if I show you Rebecca. Now Rebecca Adlington actually has a bit of a high hand sometimes as well. But just play this through a little bit. See, she has a little bit of a high hand herself here. But what we're looking for really is that's the kind of hand position you should be in. You should spear to that kind of depth. She can get away with it because she's got flexibility, so she can extend and still stay high without dropping the elbow too much. If you got, and this is quite pertinent to you because if you've got, in fact everybody really, but if you've got too much tightness across your chest and your back, you end up swimming a little bit kind of rounded shoulders, and you don't have the flexibility. You physically can't expand. Reach forward and maintain the correct body position because you've got so much tightness across here. So if you've got tighter shoulders, one thing you can do is work on flexibility, and I'll show you some stuff that you can do for that. But it's to spear deeper. It's to just shorten your stroke a little bit and increase your stroke cadence, your stroke turnover.
I find when I first start swimming that I feel a lot longer through my shoulders and my back, and I feel like I'm stretching out and getting better rotation. And I think that automatically means that your lats are engaged and your elbow is higher, and you're in that kind of It's when you get tired, I think it starts shortening off, and that's when it becomes more rounded for me. I think. Yeah.
I mean, it's not particularly bad, but it's just something which can be can be tweaked.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and what you've got here is we've got a get rid of that again. So if we go away, if we look at Rebecca, what she does here. So the stroke is led by her fingertips. So she tips her hand, and then you watch her elbow now. Her elbow almost stays in the same position, and the hand just drops. The arm just drops, and that's when this turns into a whacking great big paddle. And she forces that water back. Okay. So if you look at what actually you're doing here is, we know that the wrist is a little bit higher than the elbow. It's not too bad. Really isn't too bad. But what you're doing is you're pushing. If you think about where you're pushing the water at this moment, you're pushing it straight down.
The way that I think about this when I'm swimming well is having this angle in my arm. I think if I have that angle in my arm, then that happens. It's not I don't think of it as the angle of entry and the angle that. I think of it more about that angle.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of comes for that dip in the arm comes for free then, because I don't know whether or not that's particular to the fact my elbows are a bit wonky, but
right. Yeah.
But that's how I think of it when I'm swimming well.
But it's all related. So if you enter the water at the correct angle, then it will naturally lead you to be in a better position to start the catch. Otherwise, you get a lot of people who drop their elbow. They'll what Swim Smooth call an overglider. So you drop your elbow. I mean, if you seen Tim Tandy swim, he kind of goes, bang, and he's got this big drag, and then that hand has to come over and then recover, and then this hand here then has to go all the way over like that, all the way over like that, and then pull back. So rather than entering the water straight into the correct position, it kind of goes up and then all the way back, and that's all time. And you're actually putting the brakes on and you're pausing your stroke. So that's why it's important to enter the water at the correct angle. And we'll do some, while we're here, we'll do some rotation drills, which will improve. That.
I think I was swimming better like that before with straight into the stroke rather than. Yeah. I think when you get tired, it's easier to try and gain a bit of time from leaning on your arm, isn't it? Pushing down on the water to kind of give yourself a little bit of time to breathe and. Yeah.
But you don't. It's inefficient. So you end up just slowing down. Yeah. And you again. Similar to head position, you can experiment with looking at 45 degrees, looking further down. You can experiment with spearing into there, spearing into there, spearing into there. And you can feel what difference it makes.
I think the sculling drills are good for that. That's the best place to test that out, I think, because you get the momentum in the skull from your different hand angles.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we'll go through drills like doggy paddle and sculling.
Yeah.
And they're standard drills, but they're drills they're called drills because they've got to be drilled. They've got to be done time. You've got to relearn, reteach your body to be like that. Anyway, so pushing down here, pushing down with the hand. Again, if you push down with the hand here, what it actually does is pushes the head and the upper body up.
And your legs down.
And your legs down again. Okay. So if we look at when you actually start to get some propulsion. When we're looking at swimmers, you want to reduce drag, you want to increase propulsion. They're the two things. Okay, your drag's actually pretty good in terms of you haven't got that much at the moment. In terms of you haven't got drop legs or anything like that.
Starting to drive here and using your lats and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So a little bit more rotation would give you the ability to drive that hand in. And engage and start a better catch off, and that would use your lats and your chest to pull through.
I think just getting back to the drills is gonna, because I haven't done any for a long time, so that would be a big.
Okay, so if you think about where you're actually pressing the water, you're pressing it down here, and I'm trying to look for. There we go. So at that point, that's when you're starting to actually get some rear-facing propulsion. And you think about how much space. We've lost all this phase here. So if we can get you to enter the water deeper and start that catch rather than going in flat and then pushing down and then eventually starting the catch.
Yeah.
That's how we kind of generate more propulsion.
It would have been interesting to see what the first 100 metres of the CSS the 400 on the CSS test, what I was swimming like. Because definitely swimming slower there.
Right. Yeah. It does vary if people get tired. So on this hand, if people are going to have a fault in their stroke, it generally is when they breathe. It's normally exaggerated on the breathing side. So what we got here, when you turn to breathe here, when you can see what's happening, your hand is spearing in. It's coming in
really shallow.
Again, it's coming in shallow and it's coming in with the rest of the arm closely following on. Elbows down, hands high. And then again, we're pushing. If anything, we're pushing slightly kind of that way. And that is going to put the brakes on you, which again will make the legs drop and will slow you down, cause a bit of a stall. Right.
I think in my head, I kind of like the idea of the low recovery, kind of drag your fingers across the water, and I think I need to kind of stop trying to do that and bring that hand over higher and in deeper. I think will probably help.
Well, I'll run through some of the drills that'll help with will help you in a second. So it's tuning up on the catch. So it's head position breathing, tuning up on the catch. The feet we don't need to worry about too much for now. You've actually got a reasonable kick there. You know, your legs are staying pretty close together.
It's good for a moment cramp, isn't it?
Maybe that is helping because you're like
that. Yeah.
Okay, so just so as we've got it on here, get rid of this. this useful?
Very.
Yeah.
Not him, but it will be when I come up.
I think it's the third one I've done with you, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I think for me, it's not gone a bit tits up over the last few months. I think the one drill that I get the most out of any of them is sculling. I think now I had an epiphany with sculling, and that's because I used to try and do it to try and get through the water as quick as possible. But then I kind of toned it down a bit and tried to get through the water as quick as possible, but with the minimum effort, and use it as a time to play around with my hand angles. And that really helped my catch. So
that's a really good thing to do, because to have an awareness to be able to tune in to what you're doing.
It's knowing why you're doing the drills as well, because you can try and you can scull and try and just go through the water as quickly as you can and just complete. And all you're doing is thrashing your way through the water, as opposed to knowing why what it is you're actually trying to achieve with the drill.
Yeah, that's what I do. Because I'm sinking. Just trying to survive.
Okay, so you've all seen obviously kicking on the side, 6-1-6 and that kind of thing. What would help you in terms of your hand entry and getting into the catch would be the javelin drill and the broken arrow drills. So I'll just play some of this through.
I'm actually looking forward to
all you need are these finished freestyler paddles and a pair of flippers. Give it a try.
Let's play this through, so you've got it. I'm recording all this as well, so you get a clip of this. It's the same as kicking on the side, with the lead hand on the paddle on the lead hand. And again, just that will make you focus, allow you to focus on having that being straight and keeping that hand just below the elbow, not letting the hand.
That's where it's at its worst for me. I think in my elbow, when I'm fully extended like that, I find that quite hard to hold my hand out like that. So it takes quite a lot to.
And then see how it breaks into full stroke. So you swim and you can continue to focus on having it straight, entering the water, keeping that hand straight.
He pauses. He puts his hands in and then pauses a little bit before he pulls his elbow.
It might be just the timing for tipping the hand at the front of the stroke.
That's the thing that always gets me, because it looks like it's a glide, but it's not. It's the tip and the start of the catch. But you can only see it when you're under. You can only see it from the sideways on.
Yeah, there shouldn't really be a. So this is what we see. The higher, this will allow you to practice getting the higher hand entry, spearing in. These paddles help you focus on staying straight. So if you just watch, his fingertips start to tip at that point, and that's when the pull through starts. So that's one that you can do, and then obviously the broken arrow. I won't show you doggy and things, doggy style.
Thanks.
I won't show you the doggy.
So
it's doggy style, isn't
it? What is going on in your mind? It is doggy style. It's not that sort of holiday.
Yeah, show us the video of doggy style.
I won't show that because we'll go through that. We'll go through that in the pool anyway. But the broken arrow drill, and we can look. Have you seen the punko drill? Yeah, they take a bit of getting used to.
I'm alright on the right arm, but the left arm is it's not too bad. I mean, I'm not drowning, but I'm a lot better with my right arm than I am with my left arm.
Okay, yeah. So broken arrow. So again, you get used to holding yourself in the correct position, and there's a pause, and it overemphasises.
He doesn't look like he's entering the water that deeply there, does he? It looks like almost like a slat.
Yeah. I mean, what this is actually doing is it's getting you to focus on the rotation. So it's over exaggerating everything. It's exaggerating the high elbow, getting the arm up. It's exaggerating the rotation.
Yeah.
But he spears in and his arm stays straight. He actually gets a little bit of stability. You see him kind of kick out to the side just to kind of correct the rotation. So we can work through that. And then, as we said before, there's working on the breathing and a head position. Yeah. And I think, to be honest, that for now would do.
Yeah.
Because there's no point giving people too much to work on because it kind of gets a bit mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But those things, just tuning up the catch and working on your breathing and your head position, which will get your body higher. So you're improving your propulsion and you're reducing down your drag a little bit. It should make quite a bit of difference. But the breathing is a big one. If you can, without the cramp, try and get relaxed and not hold your breath, it will make the whole thing feel easier as well.
Could you play it at full speed about, like, say, 3/4 of the way in? Something about there. Is there any underwater or sideways shots?
Did I? I got you to do another 2, didn't I?
I think so, yeah. You need a shortcut for that, don't you?
Yeah,
I think I'm engaged.
See, that elbow comes down each time, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's hard to tell when... I throw that arm out as well. That's the problem. That's what causes Unco to go a bit ropey because it's not very stable. I need to concentrate on having my arms.
Yeah, so you're coming through quite. You're pulling through quite straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that arm's coming through straight, which is going to be putting. You're going to see it pulling through the shoulder rather than the chest and the lats.
Yeah.
So. And again, just so it's we've got it on.
I think I just need to rest up now until the end of the week, and then film me doing like 4 lengths. They'll be saying,
"Rest up."
Actually, what we haven't looked at, I'll have a quick look at that before we finish, is the overhead view. Just have a look at your alignment. Just trying to find a bit of. There we go. Yeah, so that's the angle we want to be kind of aiming for. So it's 100 to 120 degrees normally. So that's the kind of ideal angle to have here. And as you can see, yours is kind of.
I think that to be fair, that how I'm swimming there is probably about on par with what I was doing when I came to the last session. But without any kind of fatigue and, without doing a CSS test for just getting in. So I think...
so it's exaggerated because you're...
I think it's exaggerated. But it kind of brings out the things that still need,
Yeah, absolutely. It's still happening. It's still there. So it's still something that we need to look at.
Yeah.
Okay. Happy?
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, what we'll do is we'll have a quick look overhead because it's always a joyful angle to look at people from. Try and find it now. There we go. And again, hopefully we get it in shot.
That's crossing over.
Yeah, so we could see that from the other angle. So, but a lot of these things will be sorted out once we sort out. We'll do some work on the alignment and the hand entry.
Head angle as well, I think, has a bearing on that.
And what you're doing here, actually, if you can see, you're twisting your upper body, so it's actually quite rotated quite a lot, actually. But your backside here isn't rotated as much, so you're actually twisting from the trunk.
Yeah.
Rather than rotating along the kind of central axis. But again, the rotation 616, things like that will get you used to rolling right the way over and tightening up the core, so you can do core work to hold it all together. You don't want a separation between the legs and the upper body. So you're entering in, and as you're kind of pointing over in this direction at the moment. Wrong one. But you do straighten up.
Yeah, it's quite.
But you're flat at this point. You should be rotated further over. And that's coming in quite.
That's better.
See, but you think about, you should be at 45 degrees when you take the stroke. So you're 45 degrees there, and you actually looks like you slightly over-rotated on that side.
Yeah, it was quite close to the wall that first few strokes, I guess.
So you should be 45 degrees thereabouts there, but you're actually quite flat. And you roll very quickly onto your front, so you're really flat here. You should still be rotated at this point, which is why you're coming in the way you are. I'm coming in.
I'm swinging my arms quite a lot there as well, I think, which is...
Yeah. But they're all related to the same thing we've already spoken about, so you don't need to spend too much time on that. Okay, right, so... Happy to carry on to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so what have we got next?
Mr. Swim Smooth.
Mr. Smooth.
You see Mr. Swim Smooth.
Here's Mr. Smooth. What's the pro entry? Okay, so what do you think's?
Oh, everything you
holding
mentioned before
Holding
already.
you back. Okay.
It's wrong.
Okay. What do you think's your number one? If you could fix one thing overnight, what would it be?
Over rotation and breathing. That'd be one big thing. Well, the biggest thing will be dropping my leading hand when I'm breathing. That goes straight down.
Okay. Right, so
I'm quite deep in the water, but I don't know how to fix that.
yeah, we'll have a look at that in a second. Okay, so
Nice. Yeah, you can hardly see. You can't even see your head.
So your recovery there.
Submarine. I'm a shark.
So, I mean, I didn't talk about your head because I can't see it at the moment. But if you look at your recovery, your elbows coming in nice and high, and you see how, what I said before, your hand should overtake your elbow at the kind of almost the highest point. So your hand is doing that, which is good. So it's a good thing. All right, and then you're spearing in. Your hands are a little bit kind of tipped down. They should, you know, you don't want to kind of go into the water like that. It should be quite straight. So you're almost kind of overdoing it.
But isn't that because I'm so deep, and if I put straight, it'll be either go flat here or it'll be already in the water.
Yeah. So these are some of these things maybe will sort themselves out if we improve other things down the chain. So. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen your head yet. I haven't seen you breathe yet.
This looks like an arm swimming on its own.
You've got a mouth at the back of the neck as well.
There we go. So you're breathing there.
Yeah.
We're breathing at that point. Okay, so again, same thing. We can see full face. So same as what we said.
But isn't that somehow related? Because if I'm so deep, if I rotate it by 90 degrees,
you won't have any
I'll be still underwater. So I have to over rotate and basically then you see both eyes.
Well, we'll have a look at the rest of the stroke. I mean, if your hands aren't providing the support at the front end, then you're going to sink down into the water. So it may well be that if we work on the front end, which we know about already, it'll allow us to have that stability.
Because at this point, my other hand will almost be pointing that way, I think.
Yeah.
Going straight as well, which is actually painful on a longer distance.
You mean pointing at the bottom?
It goes like that. It goes like that. And and my shoulder basically, because I always breathe to the left, my right shoulder after a longer swim is properly hurting.
Okay, so I mean, you are quite a long way under the water. Let's have a look at the kind of, but it's looking at the bigger picture really. I mean, your legs aren't actually dropping that much. Considering you're submerged, it's not like your legs are down here.
Which is actually better than what it was, because I think I was more like that before.
Yeah. I'm just having a look at your breathing. Now you only breathing on one side is an issue which needs to be sorted out, which is always a pain because people find it very difficult to learn to breathe on both sides. if you do some work with fins, if you do a lot of work with fins, just constantly breathing every third stroke, every fifth stroke with fins, just doing it again and again and again and again, it will allow you to have that extra time and that extra bit of propulsion to keep your head still, to give you that bow wave to take the breath. Okay, so we'll do some work with something with fins, and you should, if you try and teach yourself to bilaterally breathe without the propulsion there with the fins, it's very difficult because you do have to lift your head.
Yeah, and the two schools, because some people say if you're fine breathing to one side, keep breathing to one side.
Yeah,
it makes it asymmetrical, fine, but actually changing that is, it's going to take years.
Okay, well if you look at what happens due to you only breathing on one side, then let's have a look, see if you're holding your breath first of all, and then we'll kind of come to that. So just wait for you to take a breath. Yeah, you are. I can tell straight away because you can see all the air coming out just the last second. So you're taking your breath there.
Well, you probably won't be able to see it. A little bit.
Your arms are almost like that when you take a breath as well, aren't they? Kind of, you're almost
because that sinks straight away. Yeah,
you're nearly at the end of your catch, and
so you can see it there. Look, that's when it comes out, right at the second before you breathe. So you've held it all that time. All right, that is going to cause, as we already said, we know this is going to cause the legs to drop. So we've got to start breathing out. If you breathe on, because you're breathing every fourth stroke there. Yeah. Breathing every fourth stroke. If you breathe every third stroke, well, you're on a winner there straight away because you're increasing your opportunities to breathe, aren't you? By whatever percentage that is, going from breathing every
4 to every 3.
Yeah. So there's an improvement in opportunities.
I breathe every 2 on the race.
Yeah. Because you need to, because you can't make it to 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't make it to 4.
Yeah. Okay, so
it does feel like I'm breathing out, but obviously not enough. There's a tiny bit of bubbles coming out, but not enough.
It is definitely
vast majority goes at the end.
It's definitely a skill being able to empty those lungs and get all that air out. And one of the classic drills which people hate doing is the sink down, where you're constantly emptying your lungs. Have you done that before? The sink down drill, where you're upright in the water.
Yeah. Is that the one when you go down and you're supposed to stop?
Yeah.
I don't stop. I go down to 5 meters.
But can you actually sink?
I sink to 5, like a rock.
Can you? Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
so
and
you
I
can get the air out then.
I was told not to do it because it was dangerous. I was sinking too fast, too far.
Right. Okay. So
in a deep pool, in a 5 meter, 6 meter pool.
But you must be able to, because the problem that a lot of people have is they can't do that.
Because I go there. Because normally some people stop at like 3 meters or so and start going up, or like.
I think the most effective way to get around that is that bubble breathe bit. Just saying it while you're underwater.
Yeah.
Just say bubble breathe, bubble breathe. And that makes a massive difference. It just gives you some rhythm, I think.
Yeah.
So if you look at these guys, girls are always good at this stuff. You look at the bubbles coming out, loads of bubbles coming out. This guy over here, he's like, it's still bubbles coming out. He can't get it all out, and he's having to fight to get down to the bottom, and it makes such a huge difference. Look, he's bobbing back up again. He's just not emptying his lungs again. These guys are blowing out good, strong blowouts. So it is a drill which is really worth practicing, because it just kind of gets you used to what it feels like. He's still there bobbing around. There's one girl in the.
But I would just, even if I keep all the air in, I'll just sink. So.
What you reckon you'd sink without breathing? Without.
You can test it.
Got lead feet. Okay, all right. We'll have to have a look at that.
That's why he's so low.
All right.
If I breathe out, I would just go and swim like 50 centimeters underwater.
Okay, so it's actually slightly too far away swimming over that side of the lane. So you're breathing out there. Look. So that's not as bad as it was before.
It feels like I does it sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, so
Are you supposed to swim from quadrant? So you're supposed to always have an arm in the...
Yeah. So there should always be an arm. We'll have a look at that again. We'll have a look at that from the overhead angle. Because your arm is recovering here. Do you know what front quadrant swimming is? So you should always have some support above the head.
Yeah, but...
So, like there, look. If you draw a line at that point, there's nothing there supporting the head there.
Yeah. But can we look at when I'm not breathing, whether that works?
Well,
because I know that's the thing to fix. That's the first thing to fix, what I mentioned at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Basically, that hand dropping when I'm breathing.
Okay. Well, you asked the question about why do we need to learn to bilaterally breathe, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, because what's happening every single time you do this.
But it will happen every single time if I bilaterally.
No, if we balance up the stroke, it won't. If we balance up the stroke, it won't.
Do you breathe on your right or your left?
On my left.
You breathe on your left side.
And right one always drops, when I take a breath.
Just follow this through. Yeah, so breath holding, head position to a point, they're both going to lead you to obviously get you back in, your legs to sink. Now, the main thing for you really is the catch and the propulsion phase of the stroke. Now, it's the same kind of things with Dan really. So it's working on the rotation, working on the hand entry, working on the catch and the pull through. So 6-1-6 kicking on the side, torpedo, the broken arrow drill, doggy style, doggy paddle drill.
I struggle with sculling and doggy paddle because if I have a big boy pool boy, and I sink.
Do you swim with the pool boy a lot?
No.
Do you kind of cheat and use it or not?
No.
Okay. Because it would be very easy for someone like you to do that.
To do what?
To cheat. A lot of people will, if they think they've got a low body position and they need to get their legs up, they'll just do all their swimming with the pool.
I never know. Because before last year, when actually you showed me there was a big pool boy, I didn't know there was a big one. I always had a small one. Well, I never swam with a pool boy in my life before that because the small one I just sunk with a small pool boy. If I swim with a small pool boy, I swim like this. Because my legs go straight to the bottom. So so I could never use the pool boy.
It's part of that with the because with the arm down at the bottom. It's part of that because he's trying to push down on the water to get his head up so he can breathe because he's so far down.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like when you take your breath that you're almost kind of going lift yourself out of the water.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, so you need to give yourself that support, the support of the front end of the stroke at that point. Javelin drill would be good for you. So with the paddle, the paddle on the lead hand, and just getting used to having that hand high and turning to breathe because the paddle on.
Interesting enough, when I do side kick, my front arm is fine. It's absolutely okay.
Yeah.
Even when I do
high elbow though, because I was doing that drill, and you can swim like that. You can do that drill like that with your elbow pointing at the bottom of the pool. And I've because of my shoulder to keep my arm rotated up. It's a lot harder for me. I find so you can do that drill, I think, and do it, and just think you're doing it fine, and actually you end up like that, and that's the position where it collapses. So if you don't have your elbow, you've got to concentrate on having your elbow pointing out of the water almost. I think. Do you agree with that?
A lot of people will do the drills. And that's the beauty of having going to a squad session or something like that, is because you've got to have someone checking what you're doing. Because people do the drills wrong all the time. You're wasting your time because you are drilling yourself to do it wrong.
It's just time. You're encouraging yourself to swim back.
It's a complete waste of time. So if you're not confident you're doing the drills correctly, then get someone to look at you, or you're better off not doing them. you are literally better off not doing it. Or even just sit an iPhone at the end of on the wall or something. You've got to get it. You've got to be able to look at what you're doing and review it. So here we go. So from above, your lead arm's reasonably straight at that point. So you're turning to take a breath. Now what you're doing here is you're starting to lose the support of the lead arm already. So it's coming down. Now what's that's causing to do is causing your legs to scissor kick at the back end. Okay, because you're losing stability. So if that lead arm stayed higher at this point, then your legs wouldn't need to split the legs to give you that balance in the water. And again, as soon as your legs open, then it's a drag, it's a parachute behind you. So sorting out what's happening with the very initial start of your stroke, and then obviously carrying on from there, the rest of the catch is really quite important for you. You can see, I can almost see your other eye.
Just looking at the camera.
Yeah. The recovering arm comes over. Oh, blimey, where am I going? I'm going up in the sky.
Get over the rope.
Get over the rope. Yeah, back down again. Yeah, and you can see you almost kind of swim, rather than stretching out. You kind of almost trying to swim downhill. You know what I mean? So it's definitely something that you need to work on is stretching.
I think that's the opposite problem that I have, isn't it? I think I need to be a bit more downhill, and you need to be a bit more more flat.
You get the people who stretch out too far, and you get the people who kind of trying to dig their way out the bottom of the pool.
Well, but that's what happened when you told me to shorten the stroke and increase the cadence. So I guess that might be the result without you seeing me and me interpreting your words in my own way.
You're interpreting what you think you're doing as well, because you can't see yourself out the pool. That's the terrible thing, isn't it?
We almost don't need to look at anything else, because that's we know that's basics. Your issue. I mean, what I can do here is
it was a big epiphany for me the last session we had about doing the drills and about your elbow position when you're using the paddles, drills where your arms out the front, and about, because I was doing them and thinking it was all great, but my elbow position was, and you pulled me up on that last time, and it made a big difference, I think.
Oh, sorry, Dan. What was that?
Last session that we had, you pulled me up on doing drills with the leading arm with the paddle on, and the elbow position being wrong. That made a huge difference really.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's really valuable to be able to do this here.
Who's that?
That is Russ Cox. This is from last year. So this is Michael from last year.
No, is it?
So this will be interesting. So if we can see, it was sunny when I filmed it. Okay, so I think there's a way of playing these both through together, but it doesn't seem to. I don't think this is going to work. Synchronise these. No, that's not working, is it?
So try to find the same.
Yeah, there is a way of making them run next to each other, but don't bother with that. Okay, right, I need to unsync this because it's getting all wrong.
It does look better than that last video. It looks like you're from that one shot. It looked like your following arm was even further behind. It looks like you're at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock now, and before you were at 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. not quite 9 o'clock, but you know what I mean.
Okay, so you look, your elbow comes up, your hand swings past your elbow at the highest point, pretty much, but here, actually that's pretty similar. It's got a higher recovery. You got your hand is definitely higher, but look where your hand already is at that point. Look where that hand is. You've you've got no support there whatsoever. So I can see that you've made big changes from last year. I mean, there's definitely improvements there.
The weather being one of them, by the way.
Yeah, different coach, better weather.
Right, here we go.
So is this footage from somebody else then, is it? Or is this
this is the camp from last year. So Russ Cox, who is the coach from last year, did the similar kind of thing. Did it in a slightly different way, but it's the same thing. It's a swim analysis thing. So, so like you said, Michael, you're completely submerged at that point. You've got nothing. Well, you got your heel sticking out a little bit. At least you got the top of your head coming out at this point. Right, so, I mean, your body position is better. Your bum is near the surface of the water.
Look at the feet. Feet are better as well.
Yeah.
I think they're more
point.
But it's slightly better flexibility. Yeah.
Yeah, virtually this. Well, that's the same position as that, but you are higher in the water generally.
Just a tiny.
I think you are. Yeah, you do look higher.
So this is where we're kind of pushing down a little bit. So we play that through. Your kick is definitely better. You're kicking from the knees a lot there. You see your legs kicking.
Yeah, you're not keeping your knees.
Yeah, look at that massive kick there, look.
And it's scissory
Still
as well.
going. All right. So here, at least you've got that start of that catch there. Did you do a CSS test last year? What was your 12 months ago? What was your time?
It was around 2:15 to 17.
Oh, what is it today? What
2:01.
That's good improvement.
Yeah, big improvement.
Well, I started 2 years ago with not being able to swim more than 25 meters.
So you have got much more stability at the front end of the stroke than you did have before. Your leg kick is better, your body position is better. So what you've been doing has been good. You've made progress, but we continue to try and continue to improve that. Just having a look at that.
Do you use one of those little yellow paddles? The
arrow looking like?
Yeah.
No, I have just normal paddles, flat ones, round ones.
So I was looking at your leg position at that point. Look at that. Look at your legs there.
Yeah, blimey.
Look at your legs there. I mean, look at you can see your bum and the length, the depth of your body there. I mean, look at you there. I mean, it's brilliant.
Foot's breaking the water as well.
Really much, so don't think there's no progress, because there is. It's really good. Yeah. Good. All right. So cool. You've made progress. So it's good to see the amount of difference. All right. That's a really positive thing. Okay. So, Richard.
Right. Time to go
now. Open. Ricardo. So, if you could fix one magic thing overnight?
Just go faster, power, legs, leg kick, pull through.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That looks like the best hand entry out of all three of us, I think, to be honest.
I've said this before about the stretching out your chest. It would really benefit for you to work on your chest stretches. Remind me, because I'm about to forget. Afterwards, we'll just go through some basic stretches that you can do. Were you there when I did them at the pool the other night, the other morning? Where there's basically, I'll show you now. There's one because the YTWL. Yeah. So Y, just hold it and just feel it stretch. I mean, I'm not massively flexible myself, so it might not be the best demo in the world, because it's great when you get kind of super flexible girls to do this, because they're like. Eloise can do
There's
it.
There's a nice looking
one
just there.
So holding it and just feeling it, and you can feel it stretch right the way across here.
So push your arms right back.
Yeah. Just feel it. Hold it 20 seconds, and then just stretch a little bit more. Hold it for another. So you expect 30 seconds altogether to stretch. Just do that over time, and you're opening up all across your chest, because if you've got tight chest, and again, people who spend a lot of time at desks and on gadgets and all this kind of stuff, it tightens up. So it means you have to swim like that, because if you're holding, imagine you do 616 and you've got a tight chest, you can't get it out. You can't straighten it out. So you need to be able to open that chest up. Okay. So Y, and then just to change the way the muscles are moving slightly, T, and then same thing, W, and you can feel it across your back there. Okay. And then L. So just spend time doing that, simple one. And then there's door stretches. So if you just find a suitable door, or you can do it with a partner. So you just lean, just twist into the stretch, and feel it all the way across here. Don't do it too much, and don't bounce. So you just hold it till you feel it pull, feel it stretch, and then ease it off a little bit, shake it out, and then the second time round, just take it. You should be able to take it just a little bit further. And over time,
playing around where you do your elbows is a good thing with that as well, I think, because I don't know. Yeah, sometimes you feel it more with your elbow a bit low, and sometimes
you can
higher.
adjust the position.
A bit like that, the stuff you were saying before with the T and the Y, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Just adjust the position a little bit, because what's happening is you're kind of crabbing a little bit with your stroke, which means we'll have a look at it. I'll show you what I mean. So if we had a look at your head position first of all.
There's no head.
Yeah, it's quite low, isn't it? We haven't seen it yet. And then we turn it to breathe. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. It's the best one we've seen. Your head is. You can see one goggle. It's nice and low. You can just see the kind of maybe the bit of the trough of the bow wave there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've done that yesterday with just keeping my head still and looking down.
Yeah, keep your head still. Forward. Keep your head still, like John Van Hazel with. Imagine you've got that wine glass on the back of your head, and you can just constantly keep it. And all you do is you turn your head with the rotation to breathe and put it back where it was. Certainly no looking forward. I mean, look forward if it's an open water skills thing, or you're swimming open water. Then obviously you look forward, and there's good ways to do it, to build it into your stroke. But generally, as part of your stroke, you shouldn't really be doing it.
So I'm spearing in, all right.
Yeah, spearing in. That's fine.
Do you think your elbows hand entry angle out of the three of us?
It's a little bit shallow.
It's
a little bit shallow, so you could do with working on some rotation to again, and it's the same with these guys, to get that hand entry a little bit coming in from a steeper angle. Come in quite shallow. Again, coming quite shallow. You've got to because what you want to do is you want to get into that position. So you want to come into the water as close to that position as you can get. All right. So coming in too shallow, you've then got to rotate and get that elbow up and get that elbow high. If you come in with a dropped elbow, or if you come in flat, you've then got to go up and then over to start the catch. So can't actually see a huge amount from this angle, so I'll have a look under the water. And you think you breathe both sides, don't you? Breathe bilaterally. Now, and this is related to what I've just said. Really, is your hand is entering the water, but there's no kind of purchase on the water, if you like. It kind of just pushes, drags through almost. So your elbow is level with your hand. It's not too bad. But there's no real engagement of the hand to generate the actual propulsion.
That's rotation based as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So which is what we just said. Same.
You turn into it, you'll be in the right position. Then draw with your lats instead of.
Well, the left hand's got it, isn't it?
So, and again, what we're doing is we're pushing down at this point. Pushing down makes the legs drop.
Yeah.
So here, this point here, your hand should still be here.
Yeah.
Your hand should still be here, and you should be you should still be having the support when you turn to breathe. Your arm should still be there. And again, if we just so as you can visualize it, So if we look at when he breathes, his hand is there, still there. Yours at that point is down here. Yeah.
But then, so he's hesitating with that hand in front then. If you go back a few frames on him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean when he breathes?
Yeah.
I think you lead with your hand out.
No, he's not hesitating. His hand is actually moving at that point. We try and find the similar place, similar. So he turns to breathe.
Okay, no, he's not.
He's pushing down. You can go down to that point, but you've got to go down to the point where your hand engages.
No, he's pushing. No, where's the bent arm?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Let's try and find a. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have an early vertical forearm like Rebecca Adlington would have right at the front of the stroke. He does have a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a glide, but a bit more of a push down at the start of the stroke. I mean, even the best swimmers in the world have got variations in the way they stroke. But what he does have is he has that support when he breathes. That arm is there, and yours is gone. So you're losing that stability. That is your number one thing.
Yeah.
To give yourself that stability, because as soon as you lose that, you're pushing down, your legs drop.
Yeah.
You lift your head up, your legs drop. It's all related to the same thing. Your number one thing is, well, it is kind of, it's the propulsion related thing which is causing drag, if that makes sense. So if you improve that catch, it'll improve your propulsion and it'll improve your drag. So you'll get a double whammy from doing that. But the flexibility in the shoulders will allow you to be able to hold a better position in the water.
Okay.
So that's really kind of key things for you. Yeah, and what we're ending up with is your hand is entering the water when you're still rotated. So you should be flatter in the water at that point. So if we get him to the same kind of point, I know he's the other way around. So when his hand enters the water, he's already started to roll flat. Just at that point. Yeah, and when you enter the water, you're still facing this way. Yeah. You know, you should be at that position.
Okay, so it's a question of timing then.
Yeah, timing, but they're all related to the same thing. They're all related to the same thing. And you can't go, right, I've got to fix this, I've got to fix that. You've got to go in, you've got to attack these things in an order, because if you fix that, it'll fix that. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Is that come out partly to do with you're trying to hold yourself out longer to take more air in as well? So then when you get to the point where you go, right, I've got all my air there, now you've got to you're trying to throw your arm in, and then you're in that position where you bent up. Yeah,
you've got to, because you know you've lost that stability and you're slowing down in the water. So you've got to get that arm over quick to be able to gain control of the stroke again and try and get some momentum going. But these, the hand's coming in, it's pointing over there. They're all related to the same thing. If we sort out the alignment, the body positioning, when you're breathing, that's why drills like 616, kicking on the side, are perfect for you, and broken arrow. So, and it's the same for all you guys. And swim smooth, to be honest, those drills are applicable to flipping 95% of the people that have their swim analysis done, because most people have the same problems, or very similar, or they're related. So we have a look under the water. So you're breathing out there. So you take a breath.
I crashed into the barrier then. So.
Now here's your look up thing, look. So
trying to destroy the place.
So you're taking a breath. You've taken a breath. Yeah. Your head is right down now, and you're thinking, your body will think, oh Christ, what's my head doing down here? So you lift it straight up, like straight up. But you don't do anything with it. You just lift it up and you put it back down again. It's like a nodding.
No, I think that's when I hit the left.
Oh, okay. We hit the rope.
Where the heck am I? Okay.
Right. Yeah. But you were doing that kind of nodding, like a Paula Radcliffe in the water. Remember Paula Radcliffe used to kind of do it like that?
Yeah. When she used to run,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kicking.
Yeah, I mean the kick can be improved, but that's like a secondary thing that you can work on. If I just play it through, I've gone too far.
It's getting your lats into the party, isn't it? I think that's the big thing for you.
Well, I've been noticing these. I've been getting bigger.
Yeah.
I can feel them. Have a shower. I think, what's all that there? It's been going on for the last
2 months.
Yeah, it's the muscle. That's right.
So if you think about stretching out, it should be stretched out and straight, and then engage the catch. If you play that, it's kind of So it needs to get that rotation in and the control at the front end of the stroke, and that will make a huge difference to you. All right, so
whose are those legs?
Oh, good, aren't they?
All the wrong reasons.
All right, so what we'll do then, just so as, because obviously I'll give you a copy of this. It's going to be a mega file. I might break it up, and that probably won't work, will it? I'll see how big it is.
How big is a mega file?
I don't know, but it takes 45 minutes.
Dave's only got 2 megabytes on his hard drive for it. Yeah,
that's why I've had to change this. I had an Air before, and I couldn't. It was just ridiculous.
But didn't you have?
You took a photo, and it's just filled up.
Aren't you in the same boat? I thought you'd got a MacBook Pro.
No, I just got this. I bought this in Australia.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah,
Which one's that?
This is the MacBook Pro.
Did they allow SD cards? Ooh.
Did they what?
Allow SD cards.
What do you mean?
Well, they didn't used to.
Did
SD cards are evil. Yeah, well, you didn't have an SD card slot before.
Oh, really? Oh, they always have this, don't they? They always have this, don't they? Anyway, so
Apple gadgets.
So what I'm going to do is record some of these drills onto here, so that you've all got a copy of this. So you've got recordings of all the drills. What I'll also do is I'll drop you an email with links to the Swim Smooth app and 30-day access code, so you can go in. Do you subscribe to that?
Do I subscribe? I used to. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, you can. Either way, you got 30 days for you to go in and play with all the drills, and there's training programs in there and all sorts of stuff, fault fixers. So I'll send you links to all the relevant things. So sink downs we've already covered, Popeye breathing we've already covered, head positions. That's what we said before about just trying different head positions and just seeing how it feels.
I'd like to do a stroke rate test while I'm here as well.
We can do a ramp test while we're here. Yeah. Do ramp test. So if we do kicking on the side, just so as you've got that on here. So it's holding this correct position.
Looking
yeah, you look down, you take a breath,
then
you look down.
Don't you look to the side?
No, you look down.
Follow the line of the pool, isn't it?
Yeah, so you should be holding, should be looking. You see almost your cheeks are on your shoulder. And it's a nice steady kick when you do the drill. Some people try to rush it. So he takes a stroke and then he kind of regains the control and tries to find the position. Okay, so you turn to take a breath, put your head back in. You get used to taking the breath while that lead hand stays high. Go on, Dan. Yeah.
What am I?
I thought you were going. You're itching to say something.
No. Well, I'm just thinking that his lead hand. So compared to what we discussed about when I'm doing that, I'd try and have my lats engaged while I'm swimming in that position.
Okay.
And he looks like he's swimming it like that. So he's concentrating more on his breathing than his elbow position. And I found that when we were doing it, you mentioned this to me about kind of like doing it like that, so that you're engaging all of this as you would for the start of the pull. And that made a big difference in the drill to me. Doing it before with just swimming with my arm out like how he is there, and then swimming and trying to do it in the position where then I could get straight into the pull. Yeah. And you know when you do like
I know what you mean. Yeah,
you do them and you kind of, I don't know which one it is, when you do like 616 or 636.
Yeah.
And then you do the stroke. Yeah. That's when that really comes into its own, because those few strokes, you're straight into a powerful couple of strokes and then back over again. And if you're in that position, the first stroke's a bit sloppy. If you
So you're saying you think his arm might be a little bit almost too straight in the water and not kind of
he does. He looks
engaging the front of the couch.
It looks like his elbow's kind of pointing down.
It's a fair comment, but he's got. If you have a look at.
But he's a shit hot swimmer.
But he does have. I mean, it's all driven by the tipping of the fingertips.
Yeah.
If his hand was flat in the water, then that would definitely be what you were saying there. But it's just that start. The tipping the fingertips is just the very start point of the catch. Yeah. So he is kind of in that position. But I know what you mean.
It might be specific more to my elbows as well, because my elbows, when I straighten my arm out with my palm up like that, they bend over like that. Yeah, that's what I was saying about it. But it's kind of I have to put more pressure here to hold my arm in that position. So but I found concentrating on that elbow position while I'm doing the drill.
Mine does that as well.
But your arm, when you bend straight back, you put your palm out flat and then bend your arm straight back.
Bend this one.
That way.
Yeah.
To your shoulder.
Do it straight back.
But my arm, I can't see.
You can't do it straight back.
Mine comes
you can't do it straight back.
No, not with my hand straight.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You proved it, we believe.
It makes playing guitar difficult as well. It's called cubitus valgus.
Makes scratching your shoulder difficult.
I can scratch my shoulder, but just not with a straight hand.
Or just with another.
There's certain chords where on a guitar it makes it real pain in the arse. Yeah. Very uncomfortable.
Right, so 616 then. Kicking on the side, exactly the same as kicking on the side.
He's doing it there. He's got his elbow out a bit higher.
Or maybe he's subconsciously almost doing that there. So he regains control, takes a full stroke, stays straight, takes a breath straight after the stroke.
See, after he settles down, he almost kind of, his arm goes straight and then he tilts it just right at the last minute. But
he has to go like this to get the balance, to stop the rotation. Yeah. So he's not going to enter and immediately stay straight and in the correct position. He's going to get that little swing out. Yeah. And then, wrong one. And then 636 obviously is a continuation of that. So you can see how we start to build up the full stroke. So 616, 636 is a 656. And you're just continuing to maintain the focus. Having a little pause in there allows you to practice getting in that position, but allows you to kind of stay in control and refocus on what you're about to do. Whereas you normally swim, you kind of start to lose focus a little bit.
I think we've got a lot of those 636. I don't think a lot of the time the schedules that I've had, we do like 50 or something, because you only get like 2 goes of the stroke, and then
stopping you from doing something.
Nothing.
Okay, so there's that.
You're good in a 50-metre pool, I think. Usually you get one crack of the whip, and then you're done, and you're like, oh, yeah.
I put the broken arrow drill on there before, didn't I? So, sculling. I mean, you guys will have all seen sculling before. But
so I can't keep my face
out of the water. Yeah. Some people, if you're not particularly flexible in the back.
Which means it makes it difficult for me to focus on my arms because I'm more focusing. I need the breath now, and then you need some time before you recover back to thinking about your hands, and then you're ready for another breath. Pretty much.
If you need to be, do it with your head down. Do it with your head down. Lift your head up to breathe.
Yeah, funny. The metabolism you've got, the sinking man syndrome.
Perhaps you're half amphibian. Perhaps that's why you like scuba diving. It's half fish.
No.
All right, so this is something that you need to.
With fish. Don't swim. Humans are not built
He'll be
to
sticking
swim.
pins in you. Well, we have to tell you what I mean by that. Sounds good. The sculling is something that you need to practice because you need to kind of feel what it's like before you get it right. Get it wrong, then you won't move anywhere, or you go backwards like Paul's demonstrating there. Doggy paddle.
I think doggy paddle's a good workout. The recovery. First bit's all right, but then
it can be, and you can actually go pretty quick doggy paddle if you're efficient at it.
Get some good looks at the pool.
But again,
I don't think it's a half one, and then go back.
It depends how much flexibility you've got in the shoulders to allow you to do that. Some people might not be able to. Again, you might not be able to hold that position, so you have a bit of a shorter doggy paddle. But the main thing is that you get used to this high elbow and pulling the hand back through on the pull.
So I prefer to do this with fins than pull boy.
Yeah.
Because if I do it with a pull boy, I basically flip to my back.
Okay. Flip on your back. Just flip over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. Again, it's just as long as we're just training ourselves to extend and get this pull through. And then just so as we've covered this, what else have we got?
What's the plan for tomorrow?
Punko.
So punko is
What's
like
the difference between punko and unko?
Well,
I was going to ask actually.
Well, punko is with a paddle.
Oh, paddle, yeah.
There's no difference apart from that. It just gives you the paddle allows you to get a bit more kind of focus and purchase on the water.
What is it?
Punko.
Yeah.
It's a good drill. It's the king of drills, so they call it. If you can master it, it fixes a lot of stuff. So, all right, we'll show you that. We'll show you it then. So
that's unko you're showing.
Well, show unko is the kind of is the drill. Then punko is the same drill, but with a paddle on the hand.
Okay.
So
this sorts your rotation out.
Yeah.
Not rotating
this is a
properly.
good drill, but it takes a lot of coordination and a bit of practice to get right. So it's a full stroke, but he's got one arm not out in front providing support, but down by the side. Yeah, you do it with fins on. So it gets you used to the alignment, timing of your breathing, really good for timing, rotation.
You have to throw your shoulder and then
There's a progression of drills to build up to this. It's difficult to go straight into unco if you haven't done it before. So you start off with keeping a single arm drill arm out front, first of all, and then you'll do it arm down by the side, but breathing towards the stroke arm, so like you would normally, and then you progress to breathing away from the stroke arm.
I think that's a really good way to swallow a lot of water. If you're not,
or drown.
Right. The two aren't mutually exclusive.
And just so as we've pretty much got the full set on here, and this is punko. So those paddles, those freestyler paddles, have got a keel on them. They're obviously speared, so you can spear into the water. They've got a keel on them, so you can sense if they're not straight. So if you have a tendency to wander, you'll feel it twisting on your hand. Really good drills.
Well, no,
They kind of emphasise the.
Well, there's one called the. What have you got here?
Torpedo, isn't it?
There's one called the corpse drill.
Yeah, that's it.
Which might.
So this half measures
You can
drill is just build up to the proper drill.
School.
What's this? It's a
Corpse drill. There we go.
Oh, corpse.
Corpse drill. We can practice the corpse drill, can't we? While we're here.
I'll be a corpse. I'll be a
That'll get
corpse.
some
And you'll be a
interesting
drill.
looks.
I thought that was torpedo. That's what I've been doing with torpedo.
No, torpedo's armour, that thing.
Oh,
Is it? Show torpedo.
Oh, right. I was doing like that. Yeah. And you're right, just get you some good looks in the ball.
Yeah. What is he doing? But you think about the control you need to do that.
Absolutely.
Turn to breathe. You gotta stay in control. If you kind of start flapping a little bit and lifting your head to breathe, it'll go pear shaped. Yeah, 90 degrees.
And then he's holding and then breathing.
So you can hold it any position, 90 other way, flat, whatever you want.
Yeah, it's a good one, that. Yeah. So,
It's just stupid.
anything else? Any more questions and bits and bobs?
No,
Well,
so
I'll
what's the
write
plan
this-
for tomorrow?
What's the plan for tomorrow?
That links to this.
That links to it?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll switch this off and we'll talk about what we're going to do tomorrow.
Because I want to do drills tomorrow.
You want to do drills?
That's what I'm asking. So if there's no
Well,
drills
okay, let me
planned,
just-
I want to plan an extra session for
Let me
drills.
just,
That's what I'm saying.